Howdy, howdy.
I think our audio is live on the countdown. Just
Okay.
word of warning. I didn't want to play with the audio and screw it up at the beginning like I did last time.
No problem. So you guys still looking at Oklahoma this weekend?
Yeah, we're coming, and so it's just a matter of what the snow does, and whether or not we hike or just take snow video. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to snow enough to where it's going to be an issue. Honestly, so if you dress warm, I think you'll be fine. So.
Yeah. All right, testing the audio. Looks like we're good.
Good deal. Get a chair.
Yeah, my knee is back. It's
Good.
The easy hike, we turned it into a pretty good little hike.
Yeah.
We went beyond the level of difficulty that I was just initially planning for. So we did some bouldering, and the only thing I couldn't do is crawl.
Yeah.
I couldn't crawl. My knee that they did surgery on, I still needed to heal. And they told me it'd be a few weeks probably before I could crawl.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I picked a course. I'd say probably 70% of it is trail, and then there's very minimal climbing or anything. And then, of course, at any point, if you feel like you just don't want to do it or not, there's plenty of places to just call it simply.
Yeah.
But it'll be beautiful scenery. There's not a lot of rain, so there won't be water features or anything. But it'll be really beautiful as it is.
Well, I've got brand new all-terrain tires on my Suburban, so
Nice.
Bring on the snow.
Yeah, I had to use my my 4-wheel drive on my Land Rover up at Woodward when I went to look at the snow a week ago today.
Yeah.
So I drove some side roads to get a couple time lapses, and I was like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have gone this way, and actually had to use the 4-wheel drive. Yep, so I can do 5K as of today. So I guess I'll be breaking out that GoPro on our hike on Sunday.
Yeah, just make sure whatever you edited it in can handle 5K.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That's why I'm shooting currently with 4K, because what I'm using today won't handle it. But in a couple weeks, I'll be upgrading to a new editing suite, which will handle the full 5K. So.
What are you going to use?
You had to ask me that, and I have to look at the All right, we are live. Get our scene up. Hey, and everything looks like it's up. We got audio, and we've got video, and we are now live with episode 5 of the Renegade hiking stream. I've got this is Nerdy Native. I'm one of the co-hosts, and we have with us
Steve Pemberton, also known as Steve the Nomad.
All right. And be sure to look in the description and click on both of our channels, subscribe, and hit the little bell notification, and also hit the thumbs up on the stream, because I hear from other streamers that supposedly helps the YouTube algorithm. And we're trying to, although that changes daily, we're trying to be as nice as we can to the algorithm to share our experiences with the wider world of hiking. So, Steve, what was your last hike, and what are you planning on doing next?
Since our last podcast, I actually haven't done any hikes. Been real busy with work and stuff like that. I guess my next one will actually be Sunday with you in the Wichita Mountains. So
Yeah, that's gonna be good. And so that depends a lot upon the snow because right now they have, depending upon what model. I was just checking the storm chasing stream that I'm a part of, and they were talking about the models varying from like 6 to 9 inches to nothing. So we'll see what happens actually on Sunday. But I'm looking forward
yeah,
to it. I'm really looking forward. Seriously, it's been over a decade since I hiked last. I think in the Wichita Mountains.
yeah,
I've chased storms through them in the last few years, but I haven't been hiking in a long time. So looking forward to it. So
yeah. I'm
my last hike was today, and it was a simple hike. Well, it started off being simple because I had my knee repaired last week, and I really wanted to be careful with it and kind of ease into the hiking to kind of test it out. And today was kind of a test hike. I actually went on a hike last weekend. It's a 4.5 mile hike around Comanche, Upper Comanche in Powder Canyon, and the Kiowa Loop. They kind of make a loop together, and it's just a 4.5 mile hike. And I don't really consider it a hike because it's on a well maintained trail, so it's more like a walk out in nature. And the knee did great then. And today we were going down that cowboy road, the Third Falls. And you've been to Third Falls, you know that cowboy road. And
oh yeah,
that was the biggest challenge that I was wanting to do today. But it handled. I mean, we handled it great. I had no issues, and so from when we got down to Third Falls, did some photography, and ended up going up one of the side streams and did bouldering. And about the only thing I couldn't do was crawl. And you know that one spot at Third Falls to get underneath the shelf, there's that one spot that's no more than 2.5 feet tall that you
yep.
literally have to crawl. And so what I had to do was I kind of sat on my butt and kind of wiggled over until I got past. I let my legs dangle over the water, and kind of shuffled around until I got in position and got some good photography. So tonight we're talking about our biggest hiking mistakes, hikes
Hmm.
that didn't go as planned. What do you what hike comes to mind? You know, what do you want to cover tonight as far as your biggest mistake?
I've got three blunders. And funny enough, in the last year, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I've gotten complacent or maybe a little bit, arrogant, thinking I didn't need this and need that because and two of them deal with Palo Duro, one deals with the Wichita Mountains, and one time involved me running out of water at Palo Duro. And then the other time was with you when we did that, unplanned 20 miler. And then
Yeah.
the other one would be in August when I just collapsed on Elk Mountain.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, do you want to show some video?
Let me see if I can share. Hold on one second. I'm
Well,
not exactly.
if you send me the link, I
Okay.
will pop it up and get it going here.
Give me 1 second. Let me find. Uh, guess probably the best ones. I talk about it at the very end. I go on a spiel for a couple of minutes about how irresponsible I was and that
Yeah.
stuff. 1 second. Let me get the link pulled up here. I think it's the
So the one
storm.
while you're pulling that up, probably the one I'll cover is is on that 20 mile hike, and it stormed on us, and I'm just gonna cover that one little part where we came upon what we now call stormy narrows because it rained, thunder, lightning, and sleet or hail. It is more of a sleet,
Yeah.
thankfully, and that was in February. And yeah, so that's probably what I'll cover tonight. That's what this photo's from. Is
I sent it in the chat. I don't have the messenger installed on my work phone, which I'm watching the feed on, so I just sent it to you in the chat. So yeah, that was one that hike, that 20 miler, really. Yeah, if there's ever been a hike that almost broke me, it was probably that one, that 20 miler. That's the first time that I've actually, with a couple of miles to go, I was done. I wanted to curl up in the fetal position and just go to sleep. I had checked out mentally, physically. I was like, I'm done hiking. I'm not doing this again. Blah blah. I called Molly as soon as I got reception after I got finished, getting my butt chewing, and I said, I'm done. I'm supposed to do the wave in 3 weeks, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm done. I'm done hiking. I quit. And of course, 2 days later, once I healed up, I was good.
Okay, what chat did you send it in?
I sent it on the actual on our live stream on the video. It's on there.
Okay. I am pulling it up.
Okay.
If I can.
So this was actually, you remember, that was a 20-mile hike with several different slot canyons. So I broke the video into two. This will be the second portion, because the first portion was Utah slots, Boulder slot, and then what we should have done was turn around at Boulder slot. But, we were making good time, and, everybody felt pretty good. And we thought we had, like, the tough parts kind of over with. But obviously, if I could turn back time, I would have turned around right then after Boulder and gone back the way we came. But we were aggressive, and we had some beasts with us, so we decided to hit those other slots. I figured we're out there, might as well go ahead and do it. So
what's the name of the video?
It's a Stormy slot, Stormy and Canoncita, I believe. But the second part, it starts with us actually climbing out of Boulder, out of the draw, and heading up a steep incline. And we're starting to show signs of being worn out at that point. And then that's when the storms, those back-to-back storms hit. The first one, which looked like it was borderline severe. And then after that, we had the next one that came in that wasn't as bad, but we still took shelter just in case. So
yeah.
But Terry and Devin were the smart ones that day, because, after Utah Central, they turned around and went back as we were coming down that steep hill with all the scree and stuff. And
yeah.
I remember looking up and seeing the thunderheads. I looked over and I saw the storms, and I'm like, man, that shouldn't affect us, because all the weather was supposed to be northeast of us, towards Border and out towards Shamrock. That's where the development was supposed to be. And that didn't happen. The storm started going up west of Palo Duro. So
yeah. All right, I'm having trouble finding the video.
Hold on one second. I'm going to go black real quick on this and send it to you on
What's the name of the?
It should be Stormy. Let me just pull it up on my other phone real quick and see.
Stormy slot. Is it Stormy slot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pemberton Bowl. Okay. All right.
All right, we are up.
Okay, so, but yeah, we made a lot of mistakes that day, and I know I was essentially leading out to Canoncita, so I really wish. I'm glad that we stayed together, nobody got hurt, and all that stuff, but obviously things could have gone really south. But it's like I tell people, I think I bring this up in every stream we have. It's like when people ask, hey, man, give me directions to this slot canyon, all that. And you pull it up on the map and you're like, oh, that's nothing. We can get there in probably 2 hours. And Canoncita didn't look like it was that far away to me. And, man, that was brutal.
Now, this is before the storm hit, I guess, right?
Yeah, we had climbed out of Boulder slot. We stayed there for a while so people could get videos and photos. I don't think anybody else had been to that slot at that time. And so we stayed there for quite a while. And then we had overcast coming out of there. And I think we started hearing rumbles of thunder. And then we started closing in on Stormy. Or no, we closed in on that area first that really doesn't have a name. it looks like it's just kind of a newer, narrow. It looks like if it rained a lot, it would be cool to see.
Yeah.
But really, it wasn't a tight slot like we like to find out there. So that's where we were at first, and then we moved up over the next mesa and over by what we now call Stormy because of the storm. And I know I hate being stuck in thunderstorms. Now if I'm in my car or I'm not a storm chaser by any means, but I'm excited by it. I'd love to go do it sometime, but I don't like to be out in the open hiking when there's like lightning, and there was like nonstop lightning. I mean, it looked like it was severe as it was moving in. So I was like, man, I'm going to run down to the slot. I guarantee it'll be not in the slot per se, but I wanted to find a rock, which I did, just to find a decent rock to hide under. And Darla was right behind me. And then we started going down the draw, and then about that time, it started the little sleet, the small hill, and we just kind of lodged ourselves under rocks a little bit, but it really wasn't doing any good. Luckily, it was quick. It was gone. It was over with very quickly, but I came very unprepared that day. I learned that day to really, I've always been one just kind of shoot from the hip. And, I learned to take things a lot more serious after that because, it got really cold because we were wet. And, luckily I had plenty of water, but I was giving it to other people that were running out, but I still ended up making it with plenty of water. But I learned that from my first mistake in Palo Duro about a year ago. But I didn't bring a jacket or anything, and I think Alma gave me one of her plastic jackets or something to wear because I was freezing at the end of that hike. It was I was so cold. The wind was roaring. And I mean, I can't even put all the mistakes that I feel like I personally made down on paper that day. I mean, I was being really hard on myself after that hike thinking, I'm an amateur, man. I shouldn't be making mistakes like this. This is laughable. And,
I just saw that, what popped up was I'd forgotten about that little kind of half subway. Picture. That was kind of cool. But here, you can see the storm behind you now.
Yeah, we saw some neat things. I mean, it was still, even though it wasn't a real tight slot, there was the giant keeper hole, which, man, with some flash floods, that thing would produce a pretty killer waterfall.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Yeah, the subway feature is pretty gnarly. I like that. That's pretty cool too. But, Canoncita was a cool slot. That was the last slot that we saw, and I thought it was neat. It wasn't real deep, but it was also filled with a lot of mud, like a lot of the slots out there, in the Texas Panhandle. But, all in all, I don't regret the hike. I was tired because I didn't sleep the night before. I ended up staying up all night because I couldn't sleep. I guess I was excited. That's why from now on, when I hike at Palo Duro, I got to stay the night in Amarillo. They don't have to get up and drive at 5 a.m. or anything. So I think I left at midnight or 1 a.m. and went ahead and just drove to the Panhandle. And I sat outside the gate, took a cat nap, and then as soon as the gate opened, I was in. But I wasn't tired. I didn't feel it until the hike was over and then the drive home. And I drove probably halfway home, and I just pulled over and slept for like an hour. And I mean, I don't know. I learned some harsh lessons that day for sure. But it's just how Palo Duro is. I mean, the first, you asked about memorable. The first one was about a year ago, and that's when I did the 20 miler, and I did a lot of draws. I did long draw. North Cedar, stuff like that out there. And the way it was when, once you get up there, you're committed to it. The path I chose anyway, whether I would have gone backwards or if I would have continued on my path, it would have been the same distance. And I couldn't come down because I was high up on those cliffs. So I was stuck. And I ended up coming all the way back around to Boulder Slot. And that's when I was on my last bottle of water. And I still had to come down one mesa and then climb another one by Central Utah, and then climb down. And I mean, just so stupid. I mean, I can't believe that I let myself run out of water. Usually when it's cooler, I don't drink a lot of water. But the heat, it was maybe in the 50s and 60s that day, got a little bit warmer than usual. And by the time I got back, I couldn't get any reception or anything, obviously. And I finally did when I got on top of Mesquite Park. And the first person I could think of to call was Terry. And I sent her a message. I said, hey, I'm out of water and my mouth is dry. I'm exhausted. So if I don't make it back to my car, I'm up here, just so you know, in case I pass out. And luckily I made it down. By the time she had gotten there, I was over by Monkey Hall on my way down. But just a very rookie mistake that I know better. I've been hiking for 30 years, And
so how much water did you have?
at that point, but from Boulder Slot, I had about 6 miles left.
Well, no, I mean, but how much water did you carry with you on the hike?
Probably a gallon.
Okay, so
yeah, gallons worked before for me, but I wasn't paying attention. I guess I was guzzling it. I didn't do good management of it, but I've been hiking for over 30 years, and that's the first time I've ever run out of water. And it couldn't happen in a worse spot because you're not going to see anybody out there. No one's coming by on horseback. And you may be lucky to see a backcountry camper, but I don't know. It was dumb. So, but all in all, that hike that day, we did see some really cool stuff. This stuff is way back there. Obviously all of us on the hike know about that, but you're looking at a day. You're dedicating a full day to this, and it's not like we didn't start early. I mean, we started super early, and the whole goal was for Ben to get some good pictures than anybody else, and he did because obviously one of them went into his calendar.
Yeah.
And but Cannon Cedar didn't turn out to be the way I wanted it to. I wanted it to be spectacular. That's obviously what we're always looking for. The next Slender Man, the next North Cedar, the next Sunday. We may not find anything like that again, but we might. I mean, there's a lot of canyon left that hasn't been explored, so there's a very strong chance eventually we will come across something like that again. But it's still neat to find these little features like the Stormy, like we called it, and it's just really cool, to explore all this stuff. So, although with the right gear now and with more water, so.
So what do you carry? What kind of hydration? Do you carry a hydration pack, or do you just do?
So yeah, every bag I've got, which I'll zoom in so you can see. I've got several bags hanging up. I got 2 full-size CamelBaks, and then I've got a couple of other smaller ones for my kids, and they've all got bladders in them. I usually fill those up, and then if I take my big military bag from Iraq, I'll fill the bladder and I'll stuff a ton of water in it. So, and both those times I had that bag, so I assumed I had enough water. So, yeah. And then, I know we're still rolling the video from Palo Duro, but the most recent mistake I made was in August. We had come back from Colorado and Utah and all the hikes there, and I had to get out. Just got this itch to go hike, and I've had this rule until this hike where I do not go out and hike in weather that's like above 90 degrees, especially in the Wichita Mountains on that granite, because like Palo Duro, the floor of the canyon, it gets extremely hot. I broke my own rule, and I went out there and took plenty of water. The water wasn't an issue. I hiked about 6 miles. I was actually on my last climb up. I had about probably 60, 70 feet, to get back. And I took a step and just blacked out. And immediately came to, I sat up and I was real woozy. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. What just happened? Because I've never passed out before hiking. Yeah. And I was still sweating. I still had water. I went ahead and guzzled 2 more bottles of water, and I still had some left. And the heat caught up to me. I didn't know what else to do because of where I was. I did have reception, so I called Molly first, and it's embarrassing, super embarrassing, for this. I don't want to be the guy to get rescued. People just find it absolutely comical I have to get rescued. So I called Molly, and she calls my friend Nathan, who he works for the Highway Patrol. He's a lieutenant, and I think he was off work that day, or he was available. He's like, all right, no problem, man. Sit tight, stay where you're at. We'll get out there and get you. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, it's just getting hotter, man. The longer I sit out here, I need to head back. I had enough energy. I felt like I could make it after I sat there for a little while. And so I took video of that snake and stuff. There was a speckled king snake there that I grabbed on video and got a killer shot with the arch and all that. So I got some good footage that day. But then I started thinking, do I go down or do I go up? Because I've got 400 feet of very steep Elk Mountain, which I'll show what part I was on when you're out here Sunday. I was like, do I go down or do I go up? And I'm like, if they're actually going to come out to me, I could hear sirens and everything. I'm like, oh, this sucks. This is embarrassing. Yeah. And like, that's all here for me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the top because there's a trail that comes to the top. That's probably where they're going to end up being at. So I did it. I got to the top, and once I hit the flat ground, I was good. I felt weak, but I kept drinking water. I was still sweating. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It didn't seem like it was heat exhaustion to me. So anyway, I get back to the bottom, and there's Molly and Nathan in an ambulance, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, they went to go get you. And I'm like, I went the way I thought they'd come. So I did what they call a self-rescue. You know, they didn't come get me off the mountain, but they went up the steep part that I didn't expect them to.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to go that way because what if I would have passed out again on those steep slabs with 300 feet below me? You know, I'd have died, no question. If I'd passed out, I'd have gone tumbling, hit my head on a rock, it'd have been over.
Yeah.
So that's why I went up. Now, should I have stayed in the same place? Probably, but I was nervous, embarrassed, so I wanted to get down, and I did. And I ended up getting a bag of fluids. I don't think I needed them, but Molly said you're getting a bag of fluids, so Steven did it. And we talked for a while, and that was pretty much it. So learned my lesson. You know, in the last year, I've just learned I got to take a lot more than I should, a lot more than in past years when I've actually planned, because it's better to have more than not enough. And you know, this is how you learn, though. I mean, you make like an IT, you make big mistakes and you never forget them. And luckily, I'm still here to talk to them. There's been people that's been a lot worse off than me, you know. So, but yeah. So those are my three close calls, probably, that really come to mind.
Awesome. So this is a Canon Cita
Yeah.
slot here.
Yeah. Cannon Cedar wasn't far from Stormy. I remember we kind of made a command decision at Stormy and said, do we want to go to Cannon Cedar or do we want to wrap this up? And
It was so
we're like,
close.
yeah, let's just go do it. And then, man, could there have been any more obstacles on the way back? I mean, quicksand and water and in the darkness.
That lake.
Yeah, Landslide Lake. Yeah. So, like I said, it was cool. We got some good footage, and you know, there was friendly banter. It was a lot of fun all around, but everything's a learning experience. So,
yeah. Awesome. Well, my you know, my biggest, or the one I'm going to cover, that I have a couple of mistakes that I've made. Probably the most dangerous one was on our Amy and I's anniversary. We went hiking in Zion National Park, and that was it was a great hike. And we went on one of the back channels, or one of the back. So Zion, you know, there's like the main part of the park that's that everybody goes to. It's, you know, it's got all the trails, it's got the tram, you know, that you have, you know, you get on the bus and you can go around to different things. You got Angel's Landing, the Narrows, all that stuff is there. Well, they have a western park. You know, they have a kind of northwest of that area. You have to get out of the park, drive around highways, and go on the, I forget what the major highway is that goes up towards that bisects north-south Utah, but it takes you around to the backside. I guess they call it the backside or the west side, and there's a whole section out there that's not really developed. There's not a lot of infrastructure. There's some roads and some trailheads. And we wanted to hit the I guess it's the second longest arch in either the U.S. or the world. I forget what it is, and I forget the name of the arch. But it was a 14-mile hike, and I thought, okay, you know, we can do a 14-mile hike, and we geared up, and we got, you know, we had both our water, you know, our hydration packs full. We had food, had everything. And we started off on our hike, and it's a nice hike. There wasn't anything really difficult about the hike. We started off in the morning, and I had 3 liters of water with me. And when we got to the arch, I remember reaching around, sucking on my tube, and I could feel that suction kick back on me. And I thought, how in the world did I drink 3 liters of water?
It leaked?
And I checked. I did not leak. No leaks. I drank 3 liters of water. And afterwards, I figured out why. That trail is at about 8,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm used to, 3,000 feet, Powder Canyon, which is around 3,200 to 3,000 feet, depending on where you are in the canyon and so forth. And at altitude, it just upped my intake of water big time. So that was the most painful lesson I learned, because that was a long hike back, and I should have had the straw, but back then I guess those emergency straws weren't as popular back then when we did that hike. But I could have sure used one, because we had a stream running. We were walking back along a stream, but I didn't want to try that water unfiltered. So it is what it is. So I learned my lesson with that. Take the altitude into account. So
Yep.
let me get my thing up here.
Was that Kolob Canyon that you're talking about?
It could be. It sounds kind of familiar, but it's a huge arch. I mean, the arch is just massive. In fact, we got to the point, we got to the end of the trail, and we saw a sign scratched into an older sign that had faded, said "Look up." Because we got to the end of the trail, and I'm like, well, where's the arch, And so we looked up, and it took us a while to get to the scale of this thing. And then it just like, wow, that thing is massive. It just, you didn't know what to look at until you got out there, and it finally sunk in what we're actually seeing. So
I don't think I've ever heard of that arch.
yeah, it's worth the hype. It's beautiful. I mean, the scale out there is unbelievable.
Did you cross the Virgin River at all, or were you real far north and west that you didn't?
No, we're way west of Virgin River.
Okay.
Yeah, we're way west. So there's that. So this is probably a mistake, is us thinking that we could get around this lake here on our way back. We probably should have picked another way on the way back on this thing. And that was just a lack of planning. But that lake was miserable.
Hey, Landslide Lake?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Because we knew we were running out of space, and we're still 10 plus miles away. Or I don't know, maybe not 10 miles, but still.
Yeah, that's when the reality set into me that we were finishing in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked up and saw the Cannon Cedar Ranch house, and I was like, oh boy. Going back and thinking about it, would you still take the same way around the mesa that we did, or would you go up and over it this time?
It's kind of funny. We were talking about that today. I've been up and over on some big hikes where we come up onto the south side of Norcita.
Yeah.
And it seems like every time I go on a hike over there, we go up and over the mesa first to get to where we're going, like a gusty slot, and this long slot. It didn't matter. All the times that I've done that, we get done with that, and we think about the way out, and it seems like we always choose to bypass the mesa and go around, swing around and go back through past Cathedral Peak.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's I'm not sure why I always choose to do that, even though it's a longer way. I think probably this time, because we knew that it was going to be in the dark, is probably the smart thing. But, like when I went over on some of my other hikes, even in the daytime, we had plenty of time left. You just look up that mesa, and you've already done it once. And I don't know. It just...
Yeah, I think we made the right decision for two reasons. One, you said danger. I can't imagine trying to come down that mesa in the dark, And then two, we were spent. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have anything left in the tank, with about a mile or two to go. I mean, I was completely out of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the video, I'm just talking. I just look exhausted. You can tell how beat up I still am even a day later.
So here's I'll turn on the sound on this thing.
Okay.
And you can hear the thunder.
So we got a storm moving in.
So the thing I was thinking about, I wasn't worried about the rain.
We got eyes on a
I wasn't worried about
really deep narrow over
anything
here.
except getting down. Because I was kind of on an exposed ridge. And
Yep.
When
I'm chasing storms, I fear lightning more than anything. Because it's such an immediate, it's immediate, and it gives you very, very little warning. Well, can't believe YouTube is.
I mean, in Colorado, I think that's what kills the most people higher up on those 14ers is lightning strikes.
Yeah. You kind of see, I'm up on a ridge. I'm staying away from the edge of the ridge as much as I can, but I have, it's like it was more important to get down as low as I could.
A bit of sleet
did not make me feel good. And I've had some close encounters with lightning, and I've had a couple of strikes that were literally just feet away. And one time when I was chasing, I was standing out on a lookout point. The storms were very far away, well, relatively far away. And it was nice and quiet, and my storm chasing buddy was standing on one side of the car, and I was standing on the other side of the car.
That's not ideal.
This weird sound was just bugging me. And I was like looking around for this little, staticky noise. It's like something was staticky, and I was like, what is that? And I'm looking around trying to narrow my way down, and it was the antenna. The antenna was making crackly noise. And I was like, oh my god. So we both just dashed in the car, shut the car. The car is a relatively close place for lightning. And this is not a good one. So you can see the rain just pouring down. And, it's one of those things where you're out there in the middle of nowhere.
Stay away from the
no shelter. You're not supposed to stand under a tree, but in my defense, there are trees everywhere. So there wasn't like I was standing under a tallest tree. I was just standing next to the tree that was next to me. In this case, you're not gonna, you're not taking an extra risk by, in a forest,
stay away from the edge.
which that essentially is just the forest of mesquite.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're not
stay in
any danger. And I was ready. I was, I had my senses geared towards any staticky feeling. If I felt hair on my arm starting to stand up, I was ready to just crouch. And instead of laying flat on the ground, that's a big mistake because you're exposing more of your body to potential current going from the lightning strike into the ground. The best thing is to minimize your contact with the ground but get as low as you can. So I was ready to just crouch on my heels as fast as I could. But, I don't know how often that actually works. I think, if the lightning's going to strike you, it's going to strike you.
Yeah, I was nervous that day for sure.
I think this is where the heat, the sleep was coming in. Thankfully, the GoPros are waterproof. So I just left it. I left it running.
Y'all taking a break?
This is either going to be a good
Y'all taking a break?
lessons learned video, which is what we're doing tonight, or you'll document, a dramatic death.
You would have gone viral.
Yeah.
For the wrong reason.
That's how you get that's how you clear off the raindrops.
If you look at
Something about the saliva makes the water just run off.
Something with your saliva makes the water just shoot off the lens.
Are you serious?
As long as we stay next to groups of trees, we'll be.
Yeah.
Just make sure
know that.
It's not a weirdo thing. It's an actual.
And if you feel
Easy.
tingly,
The
just
water's just
drop
right off.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
don't
know
lay
that.
flat.
Oh yeah, yeah. So if you're in the pool or your lens is getting
Think like
wet
that.
from
Nope.
whatever, from spray or rain or whatever, just lick your
I see
GoPro.
blue sky on this
Wow.
side. That's the RFD. Yeah.
Just for the record, snake venom doesn't help because I've had rattlesnakes and stuff strike my GoPro and leave venom. It doesn't
Yeah.
take the water off.
Okay. You probably shouldn't lick it then.
Yeah, probably not.
So here we're trying to, I think you guys, a couple of you guys got ahead of us just a little bit.
Yeah, me and Darwin took off.
Yeah, and so we're trying to catch back up with you guys. The first storm was past us at this point. We were just kind of getting a little bit of rain.
That is
came
a
up from that,
long ways
kind of
down.
a Box Canyon
Yeah.
narrow thing.
Yeah, it's a long ways down.
Yeah, there's some neat features back there. If we had more time and it wasn't lightning on us, we've gotten some more photos, more videos, I think.
Yeah.
I see all of these looked very impressive on Google Earth. I mean, they looked awesome.
Oh yeah.
They fell into a
Built it. We're done.
They're done. Or it's got a cave.
So yeah, I always carry. So you saw that jacket there, that jacket I had on. I always have that with me. I just always have it with me. And so that was one thing that I was really glad to have. I don't know if it's exactly 100% waterproof, but it is mostly waterproof, and it kept my gear, it kept me dry, so that was a good thing to have. And then of course I always wear my hat, and the hat, the water keeps my head dry. So and it's not a good idea to hike in rain because man, those rocks get muddy and slick.
Finally in the stream bed where that narrow is.
Careful.
Sun's out, thankfully. But everything is slick.
The lightning's over, so I'm going to turn the sound down. But yeah, so we finally made it to one of our targets there, which we ended up naming Stormy Narrows. It's kind of neat that it has kind of a little slot forming there at the very beginning, which is kind of neat. But then it opens up. Kind of more of a narrows. And I wasn't worried about getting a flash flood through here because the watershed that feeds into this was so small, and the rain, we just got it. We didn't get a ton of rain, and if this did get a flash flood, it would have already gone by because the watershed is such a tiny area relative to where this slot is. So it's obvious this slot's flooded before, but we just, I think it would take a massive rain in that one over its tiny watershed at one time to really get this flooding, and that would be a sight. That would be a neat thing to see. But it's such a long hike. You'd be exposing yourself to a severe storm. What we had was thankfully it was just a tiny storm.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you just wish you could figure out a way to get there right after a storm to see some of these features flood. You just can't do it. I've got my drone on standby during the springtime. Well, for chasing for that, but also for any time that I know that's going to flash flood anywhere out here. I've got locations and flight paths kind of figured out to target some of these areas. This area is out of range for my drone.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way I can get my drone to this point for a flash flood, but there are some major streams and side channels. There's a number of them that I have in mind that I am going to target with my drone whenever I get to that point. Whenever whenever that flash flood situation happens, I'll be ready to go. Hopefully, have enough batteries charged at the time. If not, I can always charge batteries while I'm en route. So
I really want to hit Fern Slot whenever there's like a tropical depression or something sitting over. I'd like to see that one.
yeah. Now that one, okay. I'd have to get permission from the park. I haven't worked with them. I've worked with the Palduro State Park. So I could, there's a good chance that I'd be able to get permission to fly there, but I need to get to know the personnel down at the Caprock Canyons, because that would Fern Cave and Fern Slot would be an easy target because there's paved roads really close to where that is.
Yep. Yeah, and there's no fences. You can park at the rest stop and bloop, drop right down.
Yeah. And it'd be an easy drone flight. One of the first drone flights that I did, searching out the targets, is actually Fern Slot. Is with my first drone that I took out to the canyon, and it was basically a GoPro that I literally strapped with a little strap to the bottom of the drone. So there's no stabilization, no nothing. Just flying on a prayer that I could fly the drone around, get whatever I'm looking at in frame, and get it back without crashing. And I actually did that. This Fern Slot was one of the first slots that I scouted with my drone. And that was before, that was really on the leading edge of the drone revolution, I'd say. So there were no rules about drones back then.
Yeah, the Wichita Mountains are going to be a no-go for drones.
Yeah. I'm going to have it with me, but only, in case we have an epic snowstorm in Oklahoma, I'll be able to get some footage into places that I can fly. So, you're talking about the flood at this Narrows. If it ever flooded, I mean, this would be an epic waterfall at the end.
Oh yeah.
Because you have this cascading falls going down probably 40 feet, if not more. I mean, that's not an insignificant cliff there. And you can see in the video, when you enhance the video, there is water at the bottom of that. So there actually, and it's more water than what came out from the rain. I think there's actually probably water coming out of the spring down there. But yeah, that's North Cedar. Yeah, that was something else. Yeah, we should have probably thought about canceling the Cannon Cedar and just going straight back. We might have been able to make it back an hour earlier, maybe. But we're adventurers. We took the chance. Thankfully, none of us died. So
that's right. Although Ben will probably tell you he felt like dying.
Yeah. So, any other advice or?
Man, I don't know. Probably the best advice I could offer up is it doesn't matter if you've been hiking 40, 50, 60 years. Always make sure you got the essentials. You have all the right gear, even stuff you don't think you're going to need. If you think it's going to be 85 degrees and you don't need a poncho or anything, pack one anyway, just in case. It's better to have way more than not enough stuff. So that's really what I've learned in the past year. And watch the temperatures, especially in Palo Duro. That's way worse. And usually in the Wichita Mountains, they put a restriction on where you can't hike in some of the high traffic areas between like noon and 6 o'clock and stuff. So I don't know if they do the same thing in the Texas Panhandle.
I don't know. I think they just try to scare you with all the signs, and particularly at the lighthouse. And honestly, I mean, I don't know if the signs are strong enough, but it's one of those things where it's like you can only put signs up for so long, and you're gonna have stupid people think that they can tackle that hike with 100-degree weather, and I don't know how, what they could do other than just shutting that trail down. I don't know what they could do to keep people safe with that thing. They do have water stations now in places, and I do know that they also have. I've seen people on their bikes, and I think they're just volunteers, and they'll ride their bikes around. And when they come up to you, they'll ask, "Are you okay? Do you need any water or anything?" And that's probably a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most dangerous trail in Powder Canyon is the Lighthouse Trail in summer. I mean, it's just I'd recommend not hiking in the summer. Hike now. This is hiking weather right now. This is when you go out there. So.
Yep, I agree.
So our next hike is hopefully going to be Wichita Mountains. What beyond that? What's your next hike beyond that?
I think the next weekend I'm going to try to take my kids out and hit 2 caves that I haven't filmed before. One was just recently found that I've never seen before. And then I'm going to just kind of take a compilation of footage I've shot and put together a couple Jesse James videos about some treasure legends, essentially. There's just not a lot of information about there. So I've got the facts and I'm going to put them out there. So there is one that I talked to a guy and he told me to hold off. He doesn't want me to release the details because he's got a book coming. So after his book, then I'll do the video. I don't want to step on his toes or steal his thunder or anything. I'll wait until the book is published, and then after that, I'll make that video. But yeah, hopefully get a decent amount of hiking done. I can't wait to get out there. Well, one, to hike with you and Amy on Sunday, and whoever else ends up coming along. But also to test out that GoPro. So
yeah. So I'll send you a couple links on GoPros that help me with specifically setting up your GoPro 9.
Okay.
And there's a ton of settings on there. And I've had lots of GoPros, and this is by far the best one. The only thing that comes close is the GoPro Max, which is my second GoPro.
Yeah.
And but this thing, man, is a 5K monster. You can get 5K, and I would recommend, and maybe that should be our next stream, is our hiking media gear or just hiking gear. I don't know. We'll have to take suggestions from everybody.
Yeah.
And but yeah, because I've done a lot of. I've been really working hard for the last several years on how to best document these places that you go out and see. Specifically on hiking.
Yeah.
And I think the combination of the GoPro Max and the GoPro 9 now is my go-to. I'll have my Max on the end of my stick, and the GoPro on my little selfie stick, the GoPro 9 and a little selfie stick, and I think I'm happy. Finally, I haven't been happy with anything.
It's always going to be the next thing. It's always going to be something.
And I think and again, I guess we'll save some of this stuff for the next stream if that's what we decide to do. On how I handle it, because handling the media, man, you take a few minutes of 5K video, and you better have an extra hard drive standing by. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, hope everybody enjoyed the stream, and again, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button on Steve's channel. Both our channels are linked down in the descriptions. Make sure you subscribe, and if you have any ideas, be sure to leave it in the comments. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and one of us will get back to you, and we'll answer any of the questions that you have. As long as it's not GPS coordinates. We're not going to give out GPS coordinates.
Oh, I'll give out GPS coordinates, just not going to be the ones you want.
It won't be the right ones, yeah. And maybe there'll be another stream that we'll do is why we give out coordinates sometimes to some things and not to other things. So
that'll be a heated discussion right there.
Oh yeah, I know. And actually that may be a popular one if we can get some trolls on here to gripe at us for not sharing, because man, you should see some of the messages we get. So.
Yeah, they get downright nasty.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. Anything else, Steve?
Nope, I think that's it. See you
All
on
right.
Sunday.
Well, we'll try to do these at least once a week. The timing is going to be kind of up in the air for a little bit, but just subscribe and hit the little notification, and you should get notified whenever these things get posted. I try to post the link to the stream at least a day, and most of the time 2 days before the stream actually goes live. So that should help you keep track of when we're actually going to do this. So. All right. Well, that's it for tonight's stream. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Have a good night. Be safe.
All right. We'll see you.